Roar. The distant and ancient sounds of dragon roars and phoenix calls seemed to emanate from the far reaches of ancient times, piercing through space and time, echoing in Mu Chen's mind. Under the influence of this dragon and phoenix symphony, the blood in Mu Chen's body seemed to boil in response. Brilliant golden light began to spread from the center of Mu Chen's brow. In the blink of an eye, it extended to every corner of his body. As this golden light invaded his flesh and blood, an intense, searing pain immediately spread throughout his body. The pain was so intense that Mu Chen's face contorted. His body trembled uncontrollably, and blood even began to seep from his pores. A single drop of dark golden essence blood manifested, exuding an incomparable, domineering force. It seemed intent on burning all the blood in Mu Chen's body to ashes. However, this scene was obviously not what Mu Chen wanted to see. What he sought was fusion, not complete incineration. If his blood were truly burned away, it would deal a devastating blow to him. At that point, the Dragon Phoenix essence blood would take control, and his physical body could very well be destroyed. Once it enters my body, no matter what it is, it has to behave. Mu Chen gritted his teeth, his mind focused. His spiritual energy surged rapidly, even causing the speed of his blood flow to accelerate. He knew that there could be no hesitation at this moment. No matter how domineering the Dragon Phoenix essence blood was, he would never allow it to burn all the blood in his body. The golden light slowly seeped through his flesh, turning his body into a dazzling golden glow. Yet under Mu Chen's control, his blood, with the aid of his spiritual energy, began to fight back, suppressing the golden light once again. A tug-of-war ensued within his flesh. Every clash caused the flesh to writhe, and intense pain to spread, almost making Mu Chen scream out in agony. The pain was excruciating, like cutting through his own flesh, unbearable. But at this point, there was no retreat. To cultivate the Dragon Phoenix body, immense risks had to be faced. If someone were to observe Mu Chen's body from the outside, they would see his entire body suffused with both blood red and golden light. The two colors continuously clashed, as if trying to consume each other. Under the illumination of these two lights, Mu Chen's contorted face appeared especially ferocious. Though the Dragon Phoenix essence blood was domineering, it was still weak in comparison. After a prolonged tug-of-war, the golden light finally began to subside. However, just as Mu Chen exhaled a sigh of relief, golden light erupted once more above his head, beneath the Dragon Phoenix divine wheel. Another drop of Dragon Phoenix essence blood fell, landing in the center of his brow. Damn it! Mu Chen could only curse inwardly before the overwhelming pain surged once more, drowning him. He could only focus his mind, trying not to let his consciousness be shattered by the excruciating agony. Thus, for the next period of time, Mu Chen endured a torturous, almost unbearable sensation, as though his flesh and blood were being endlessly sliced apart with sharp blades. In the end, he lost track of how long this struggle lasted. He only knew that later, he lost all sense of perception. The only thing that kept him going was a lingering will to protect his mind from being completely destroyed. However, during this time, Mu Chen was unaware that inside his flesh, with each battle, dark golden threads of blood began to emerge. These threads spread throughout his body, beyond his bones, slowly wriggling as if an extremely terrifying vitality was emanating from them. At the same time, dark golden light surged over his skin, and fine dark golden scales began to emerge, faintly visible under the surface of his skin. His entire body seemed to be undergoing a monumental transformation. Meanwhile, in the Super Dragon Phoenix pool, the golden water level began to drop. The originally dazzling golden light faded, clearly because a large amount of the Dragon Phoenix essence blood had been absorbed by Mu Chen. Cai Xiao stood outside the Dragon Phoenix pool, watching as the water level continued to fall. The figure of Mu Chen, who had been seated at the bottom of the pool, became faintly visible. The Dragon Phoenix essence blood in this Dragon Phoenix pool is not enough to support the formation of the Dragon Phoenix body. Cai Xiao muttered to herself. Then, her brows furrowed slightly, and after a brief moment of contemplation, she clenched her jade-like hand. Suddenly, a Dragon Phoenix fruit, intertwined with dragons and phoenixes, appeared in a flash, emitting a dazzling golden light, like a small sun, radiating an irresistible force that made one yearn for it. The dragon phoenix essence blood needed for cultivating the dragon phoenix body was somewhat beyond Cai Xiao's expectations. If things continued this way, Mu Chen's cultivation might not reach the perfect level. Without the dragon phoenix essence blood, his cultivation would automatically halt, and losing this opportunity would make it extremely difficult to reach this stage again next time. Thus, at this moment, Cai Xiao decisively took out a dragon phoenix fruit. "Looks like you're lucky this time," she said. Cai Xiao glanced at Mu Chen, who was sitting cross-legged at the bottom of the pool. She pursed her rosy lips and flicked her finger. Instantly, the dragon phoenix fruit turned into a streak of golden light and shot straight toward the dragon phoenix divine wheel floating above Mu Chen's head. As soon as the dragon phoenix fruit entered the divine wheel, a surge of golden light erupted, and a massive golden pillar of light shot into the sky, visible clearly within 1,000 miles. Roar! Within that immense golden pillar, the ancient sounds of dragon roars and phoenix cries echoed, reverberating through the heavens and earth. In that light column, the shadows of a true dragon and true phoenix seemed to swirl. At the source of the golden light column, Mu Chen remained seated in silence, his body now covered by the dark golden dragon phoenix essence blood, flowing down like a stream, completely enveloping him. Sizzle! Sizzle! As the dragon phoenix essence blood flowed down, Mu Chen's skin seemed to burn, emitting a harsh sizzling sound. It felt as though the dragon phoenix essence blood was not blood, but molten gold and iron. His body trembled violently under the blood's encasing. A hoarse and suppressed roar of pain continuously emerged, his fists pounding the ground wildly, causing cracks to appear on the bottom of the dragon phoenix pool. Cai Xiao's beautiful eyes locked tightly on his trembling figure, her jade-like hand clenching involuntarily, ready to forcibly pull Mu Chen out of this cultivation state. If things continued like this, once Mu Chen could no longer endure, the dragon phoenix essence blood might even melt his physical body. They had underestimated the sheer dominance of the dragon phoenix essence blood. "Hold on," Cai Xiao whispered. If she forcibly pulled Mu Chen out of his cultivation state now, all his previous efforts would be wasted, and the dragon phoenix fruit would be wasted as well. Thus, this was a last resort she could not afford to use unless absolutely necessary. The golden light pillar surged into the sky, its dazzling brilliance lasting for several hours without showing any sign of weakening. However, over time, the loud sounds of Mu Chen's violent strikes gradually quieted down, and his trembling body slowly began to calm. Cai Xiao, seeing Mu Chen now motionless, couldn't help but frown. She sensed his aura was rapidly weakening. Did he fail? Cai Xiao's beautiful eyes flickered. Then, gritting her teeth, she pointed her jade foot into the air, appearing at the bottom of the pool. Her jade hand reached out to grab Mu Chen out of the golden light. "No, don't." But just as Cai Xiao was about to pull Mu Chen out, a raspy, faint voice emerged from within the light pillar. Cai Xiao's hand froze in midair as she stared intently at the blinding golden pillar. Eventually, she could only stomp her jade foot and slowly withdrew her hand. Mu Chen's resilience had, surprisingly, exceeded her expectations. The golden light continued to shine brightly, but with the passage of time, it began to weaken. The immense golden pillar gradually shrank, eventually becoming a thin line of light that vanished into thin air. When the light pillar completely dissipated, the situation at the bottom of the pool became clear again. Cai Xiao's beautiful eyes locked onto the scene below, where a golden crystalline layer covered a figure. The figure looked like a fly trapped in amber, its body stiff, and its twisted face frozen, as if all life had disappeared. Cai Xiao's beautiful eyes remained fixed on the figure within the golden crystalline layer. At this moment, even she could no longer sense Mu Chen's aura, leaving her unsure whether he had succeeded or failed. Crack! Just as Cai Xiao could no longer suppress her anxiety and was about to forcibly shatter the crystalline layer, a crack suddenly appeared on the surface of the layer. Inside the crystal layer, Mu Chen's tightly shut eyes trembled slightly, and under Cai Xiao's joyful gaze, his eyes slowly opened. Boom! Brilliant golden light suddenly shot out from Mu Chen's opened eyes, followed by a deafening explosion. The golden crystal layer immediately shattered, turning into a vast sea of golden light. As the golden light flooded the sky, a golden figure shot into the air, letting out a loud roar that carried with it the sounds of a dragon's roar and a phoenix's cry. Amid the golden radiance, a massive dragon shadow and a wind shadow flickered behind him. The overwhelming pressure filled the entire world. The golden figure hovered in midair, accompanied by the dragon and phoenix, resembling a divine being, exuding an unmatched aura. The dazzling golden light spread across the sky, even causing the clouds to appear as though they were forged from gold, the grandeur of it all truly breathtaking. Above in the sky, a figure hovered, and golden light shot from his body. Behind him, massive dragon and phoenix shadows swirled. Finally, with the earth-shattering dragon and phoenix cries, the shadows surged into his body, vanishing. Mu Chen lowered his head. His hands slowly clenched, and the power within his body surged like a flood, roaring with an overwhelming force. The sheer magnitude of this strength seemed as though it could shatter the world. This immense physical strength was something Mu Chen had never experienced before. Even his 9-rune thunder body couldn't compare to this level. He could sense that his body had undergone a complete transformation, a profound change beyond imagination, and the vitality within him was unlike anything he had ever known. The unbearable pain he had endured earlier was finally worth it. Mu Chen smiled widely and, with a single motion, appeared before the super dragon phoenix pool. He looked at Cai Xiao and sincerely said, "Thank you." Although he had been in deep cultivation earlier, he had sensed the sudden surge of power from the dragon phoenix essence blood, which clearly didn't come from the pool, but from the rare dragon phoenix fruit. If it hadn't been for the dragon phoenix fruit, his cultivation would have certainly been interrupted. Not only would he have failed to cultivate the dragon phoenix body, but he would also have wasted many precious treasures, a catastrophic loss. So, Mu Chen was genuinely grateful to Cai Xiao. After all, they had a cooperative relationship, but on this journey, he had definitely benefited quite a lot. Cai Xiao smiled casually and then, with a playful glint in her eyes, looked at Mu Chen. She reached out and gently pinched his arm, laughing. As expected of the dragon phoenix body, there are indeed some impressive features. Having seen much and with sharp insight, Cai Xiao could immediately tell how remarkable Mu Chen's physical vitality had become. With such vitality, as long as he didn't suffer a devastating injury, he would likely recover at an astonishing speed. Mu Chen nodded. He was also very satisfied with the power of his dragon phoenix body. If he encountered Lu Yin again now, the outcome would be very clear. With his third grade supreme strength, combined with the great sun indestructible body and the current dragon phoenix body, below 5th grade supreme, few would be able to match him. It seems your physical foundation is quite impressive, Cai Xiao complimented lightly. If an ordinary person had the dragon phoenix fruit, they would have never been able to cultivate the dragon phoenix body. She could tell that this body was incredibly domineering. A person with even slightly weaker physical strength would likely be unable to withstand the force of the dragon phoenix essence blood. In that case, not only would their blood be burned, but their physical body would also be destroyed. Mu Chen smiled. The thunder god body he cultivated, while not the most top-tier physique cultivation method, had its own unique advantage. The thunder god body refined the flesh from within, gradually strengthening it. While it didn't push the body to an unimaginable level of power, it provided the cultivator with an extremely strong foundation. Later, even if he practiced other body cultivation methods, he would gain twice the results with half the effort. However, while your dragon phoenix body has been established, it seems that ordinary methods will not allow you to unleash its full potential, Cai Xiao said after a moment of contemplation. Mu Chen was surprised. You are, after all, human, and you don't yet understand the full potential of the dragon phoenix body. To truly unlock its power, you must rely on the cultivation methods of the true dragon and true phoenix. The cultivation method of true dragon and true phoenix. Mu Chen furrowed his brow. The true dragon and true phoenix were the pinnacle existences within the dragon phoenix clans. Their cultivation methods were considered top-tier even within their own clans. It could be imagined that, in this vast world, few forces or powerful individuals would dare to venture into these two super clans to seize such cultivation methods. Why fight for them? Isn't there an existing one in Dragon Phoenix Heaven? Cai Xiao rolled her eyes at Mu Chen and said. Upon hearing this, Mu Chen immediately understood. You mean the inheritance left behind by the true dragon and true phoenix? At this point, he smiled helplessly. Although Dragon Phoenix Heaven had been open for many years, no one had ever truly obtained the inheritance left by the true dragon and true phoenix. Clearly, the difficulty was self-evident. Though confident, Mu Chen wouldn't dare boast about definitely obtaining the inheritance. Moreover, right now, Dragon Phoenix Heaven was filled with prodigies. Everyone had their eyes on the Dragon Phoenix inheritance, and among them were figures like Feng Yi, the Netherworld Prince, and Su Biua, heavenly prodigies in their own right. The first two even possessed terrifying strength capable of competing with Cai Xiao. Trying to stand out among them was definitely no easy task. What's wrong? Afraid? Cai Xiao asked with a smile. Not exactly afraid, just that it is indeed difficult. Mu Chen chuckled, then raised his gaze to the distant horizon. His pitch-black eyes were filled with a fiery battle intent, burning like flames. However, I am indeed curious to see for myself just how strong these outstanding figures from the northern domain really are. Cai Xiao looked at the young man before her, and from the depths of his dark eyes, she saw ambition. A burning ambition to chase the path toward becoming the strongest. Moreover, that ambition seemed to have unshakable reasons behind it. It even made her unconsciously believe that, perhaps in the distant future, this young man before her might truly stand at the peak of this world, gazing down at all beneath him. Let's go. Whether you talk big or not, it will all be settled on the Dragon Phoenix platform. Cai Xiao couldn't help but feel slightly dazed for a moment. Then, she smiled brightly and didn't say much more, though in her heart, she muttered to herself, what an interesting guy. Having already enjoyed the Dragon Phoenix fruit and the Dragon Phoenix pool, Mu Chen and Cai Xiao didn't linger any longer. After a brief bit of organization, they set off. Calculating the time, they had already been in Dragon Phoenix Heaven for more than a day. However, since there was no day or night cycle here, the passage of time went unnoticed. This wasn't a short period of time. Based on Mu Chen's guess, the 5 Dragon Phoenix pools that had been detected earlier were likely already divided up. The question now was, who had obtained the other 4 pools? But now that the Dragon Phoenix pools were mostly claimed, many of the powerful prodigies should be heading toward the most important Dragon Phoenix platform, where, supposedly, the Dragon Phoenix inheritance resided. And Mu Chen's target was also there. Thus, during their journey, Mu Chen and Cai Xiao made no further stops. After determining the right direction, they pushed their speed to the limit. In just 2 or 3 hours, they had completely left the remote area. Along the way, Mu Chen encountered many groups of powerful individuals, but these people weren't headed to the Dragon Phoenix pools. Instead, they had teamed up to rob solitary strong figures they encountered on their path. After all, very few people could obtain a Dragon Phoenix pool in Dragon Phoenix Heaven, but there were plenty of heavenly treasure materials in the area, which became the targets of these people. However, when they set their sights on Mu Chen and Cai Xiao, their misfortune was sealed. From these unlucky individuals, Mu Chen gathered a lot of information about the events that had unfolded throughout the day in Dragon Phoenix Heaven. This information undoubtedly shocked Mu Chen, because, in this time, there had actually been a total of 8 Dragon Phoenix pools discovered. The initial report had only detected 5, meaning that in just one day, some lucky individuals had found 3 additional Dragon Phoenix pools that were originally undetected. Moreover, the ownership of these 8 Dragon Phoenix pools was quite surprising. Mu Chen had obtained one, while Su Biue from 10,000 Saints Mountain, Hong Yu from the Demon Gate, and Ding Xian from the Giant Spirit Clan each had one as well. What surprised Mu Chen the most was the distribution of the remaining 4 pools. The Netherworld Prince had claimed 2 of them, while Feng Yi, who had previously snatched an immature Dragon Phoenix fruit from Cai Xiao and Mu Chen, took one. The last one was actually obtained by Lu Yan. These guys are quite impressive, Mu Chen mused. It seems like all 6 of them must have cultivated a false dragon body or a false phoenix body. After receiving this information, Mu Chen couldn't help but sigh. The geniuses gathered here in Dragon Phoenix Heaven were indeed the pride of the heavens. Among them, Feng Yi and the Netherworld Prince are probably the most troublesome, Cai Xiao said. Chen nodded. Although Feng Yi had only obtained one Dragon Phoenix pool, he still possessed a Dragon Phoenix fruit. Although it was immature, if refined, the true Dragon and Phoenix essence blood contained within would undoubtedly surpass that of an ordinary Dragon Phoenix pool. As for the Netherworld Prince, he had 2 Dragon Phoenix pools, so his false dragon body would likely not be weak. There will certainly be a spectacle on the Dragon Phoenix altar, Chen remarked. Cai Xiao smiled with interest. Within this Dragon Phoenix heaven, many heavenly treasure materials contain the true Dragon and Phoenix essence blood. Thus, some fortunate individuals have managed to obtain these materials and cultivate false dragon bodies or false phoenix bodies. These individuals are qualified to reach the summit of the Dragon Phoenix altar. Chen nodded, then took a deep breath. His gaze turned toward the distant horizon, and in the unreachable void, he seemed to see a towering, majestic ancient stone platform. In Dragon Phoenix heaven, all the proud talents would eventually gather here and determine the victor in a battle to the death. Such a battleground truly stirred one's fighting spirit and ignited the blood. However, no matter what, those so-called false dragon bodies and false phoenix bodies would eventually fade in comparison to the brilliance of the true dragon and phoenix body. The Dragon Phoenix domain was the heart of Dragon Phoenix heaven and the most important area. It was here that the Dragon Phoenix altar, said to contain the true dragon and phoenix inheritance, was located. Unlike the other regions of Dragon Phoenix heaven, which were teeming with strange beasts, this area had none that dared to linger. This place was, after all, where the true dragon and phoenix had truly fallen. The residual pressure from their fall still lingered, and even after countless years, it still deterred any beasts that had absorbed the true dragon and phoenix essence blood from approaching. In the past, this area was often in a state of eerie silence. The wind didn't even dare to stir in the oppressive atmosphere, making it feel like a dead zone. But that silence was now gone. In its place was an uproarious noise. Countless streaks of light and shadow poured in from all directions, filling the sky and the ground like a swarm of locusts. The clamor shattered the previous stillness completely. These lights and shadows were the young powerhouses who had arrived at the Dragon Phoenix altar. Having ventured through Dragon Phoenix heaven, they had faced danger but also gained many benefits. Now, they all rushed to this place, knowing that soon, a colossal struggle would unfold here. As time passed, the number of powerful figures gathering in this place increased at an astonishing rate. The cacophony of sound gathered together, sending shockwaves into the sky. Even the heavy clouds were lifted by the pressure. Whoosh! Just when the number of figures in this area had reached a staggering amount, a sudden burst of powerful spiritual energy waves erupted in the distant sky. A light and shadow streaked across the heavens like a falling meteor, eventually landing on a massive solitary peak. Boom! When the figure's feet touched the peak, a large crack immediately spread from under his feet, covering the entire peak in just a few breaths. The solitary mountain seemed on the verge of collapsing. At the summit, the light dissipated, revealing a giant figure nearly 20 feet tall. Clad in heavy armor and wielding a massive axe, a wild and untamed aura spread around him, resembling an ancient giant from a savage age, unparalleled in power. That's Ding Xian of the Giant Spirit Clan. As soon as this figure appeared, it caused an uproar in the surrounding area. It was clear that Ding Xian was no nameless figure. On the contrary, he had quite a reputation in the northern domain. It said that Ding Xian obtained a Dragon Phoenix pool and cultivated the false dragon body. The Giant Spirit Clan excels in physical combat, and now, with the false dragon body, he's even more powerful. It seems that his rank on the Dragon Phoenix record is bound to rise. Whoosh! Whoosh! Just as the many powerful figures in the area were shocked by the appearance of someone as strong as Ding Xian, the sound of tearing wind echoed from afar. Along with the wind, immense waves of spiritual energy followed. 2 beams of light streaked through the air, one leading and the other following. They then crossed sharply in the sky, and powerful spiritual energy surged, clashing violently against each other. The waves of spiritual energy raged, and the 2 beams of light were both forced to retreat, each landing on a separate mountain peak. Sister Sue, your strength has certainly improved a lot. I must say I'm envious. One of the beams of light dispersed, revealing a woman in a bright red dress, Hongyu. She smiled, her lips curling seductively, a smile so alluring that it left everyone around her entranced, their gazes frozen. Hongyu, you're not so simple yourself. I imagine your demon god art is already perfected, right? On another solitary peak, a figure appeared. She was clad in a white dress, her beauty unmatched, exuding a pure and sacred aura. This woman was none other than Su Biyue of the 10,000 Saints Mountain. As soon as these two stunning women appeared, the atmosphere in the entire realm grew intense. Countless eyes turned toward them, their gazes burning with desire. Among the younger generation of the Northern Domain, perhaps these two were not the strongest in power, but their charm surpassed even that of Feng Yi of the Divine Pavilion, who was ranked first on the Dragon Phoenix record. I'm curious, though, if Sister Sue's false phoenix body has truly been perfected. Hong Yu's jade-like hand covered her lips as she giggled, her playful laugh igniting a strange fire within one's body. Su Biyue smiled without replying directly, saying, Hong Yu, are you planning to test it now? I'd love to, but I'm worried someone might swoop in and take advantage if we fight now. I don't mind, but I'd hate for your undefeated saintess reputation to be tarnished, Hong Yu replied with a teasing smile. Despite their mutual beauty, it was clear that these two women did not get along. Though they called each other sister with affection, there was a deep sense of distrust between them. Su Biyue gently shook her head at Hong Yu's words. She was aware of how troublesome Hong Yu could be, so she decided not to engage further. Her gaze swept across the area, pausing momentarily on Ding Xian, before moving on. After the appearance of Hong Yu and Su Biyue, the atmosphere in the area grew even warmer. As time passed, more powerful individuals, radiating overwhelming spiritual energy, arrived. These individuals carried an air of pressure about them, likely from having absorbed true dragon and true phoenix essence blood. It was clear that many of these strong beings had acquired some form of dragon phoenix essence blood from heavenly treasures and materials. They, too, had the qualification to ascend the dragon phoenix altar. Among these powerful figures, Lu Yin stood out the most. Since his arrival, he had been dark-faced, standing alone on a mountain peak. A torrent of spiritual energy swirled around him, and an ominous aura of killing intent spread throughout the area, making others uneasy. However, his appearance only seemed to spark more gossip. I heard that Lu Yin lost to Mu Chun when competing for a Dragon Phoenix pool, and Mu Chun even took the Dragon Phoenix pool away. Mu Chun? Isn't he that kid with only the strength of a third grade supreme? Yes, that's him. But don't underestimate him. I was there when Mu Chun and Lu Yin fought, and that kid was anything but ordinary. Even when Lu Yin used his supreme divine ability, he couldn't overpower Mu Chun. Really? Guess we can't judge a book by its cover. No wonder the great Luo Heaven Domain sent him here. The whispers grew louder and reached Lu Yan's ears, causing his face to twitch. His expression darkened even further, and his killing intent thickened. Su Biyue and Hong Yu couldn't help but glance at the brooding Lu Yin. They had both heard the news, though initially, they hadn't believed it. After all, Lu Yan's reputation was enormous, and compared to him, Mu Chun was practically unknown. If the two faced off, the outcome seemed obvious. But the final result was the opposite of what they had imagined. Lu Yin, who was supposed to win, ended up losing in the battle for the Dragon Phoenix pool. Mu Chun is even more formidable than I thought. Both women thought, their expressions unchanged, but inwardly shaken. Back when they were in the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion, they had only been surprised by Mu Chen's courage, but no one had expected this young man, with the strength of only a third-grade supreme, to possess not only courage but also strength to match. As Hong Yu and Su Biyue exchanged glances, their eyes suddenly froze, and they shifted their focus to two mountain peaks in the distance. The two figures appeared abruptly, their arrival causing no visible phenomena. Yet, it was precisely this silent, eerie nature that made the many powerful figures present feel a chill in their hearts. That is, countless gazes were cast toward them, and soon, low exclamations of shock filled the air. The powerful individuals whose bodies emanated the scent of dragon phoenix essence blood all showed subtle changes in their expressions, filled with deep apprehension. That's the Netherworld Prince, ranked second in the Dragon Phoenix record, and Fong Yi of the Divine Pavilion, ranked first. They've finally shown up. The appearance of these two figures sent waves of astonishment throughout the crowd. Compared to other powerful figures, these two were truly the most heavyweight individuals. Under the countless gazes, the two figures stood atop a mountain peak, hands clasped behind their backs. One wore black, the other white, yet their silhouettes stood out like the most conspicuous colors in the world. Every other expert seemed dimmed in their presence. Among the younger generation of the Northern Domain, these two were like monumental figures, with no genius able to surpass them. The entire world seemed to grow quieter upon their arrival, as if being overshadowed by their oppressive presence. Whoosh! However, this suffocating pressure didn't last long, as it was shattered by a sharp sound of wind tearing through the sky. Two streaks of light dashed across the heavens, under the watchful eyes of countless onlookers. As one of the streaks of light had yet to reach them, a crisp, icy voice rang out, echoing through the sky. "You sneaky rats, you actually dare to show yourselves? Do you think I can't take you down?" When the voice sounded, it seemed as if a jade hand formed a seal, fingers pointing into the air. Immediately, space itself tore open, and a multicolored light rainbow shot forth, streaking across the sky like a thunderclap. Countless gazes followed the multicolored light, and many powerful figures gasped in shock, for they realized that the end of this rainbow of light was none other than Fong Yi, ranked first in the Dragon Phoenix record. Who was this newcomer, powerful enough to launch an attack on Fong Yi the moment they appeared? Boom! Amid the countless astonished gazes, the multicolored light tore through the sky like thunder, charging directly toward Fong Yi, who stood atop a mountain peak. This sudden attack naturally drew the attention of everyone. Even figures like Su Biyue and Hong Yu were stunned, not knowing who would dare to attack Fong Yi directly. After all, Fong Yi was the true #1 powerhouse on the Dragon Phoenix record. Countless eyes flashed with disbelief. But just when many thought the attacker was overestimating their abilities, Fong Yi, standing at the peak, merely furrowed his brows. He stared at the rapidly approaching multicolored light, and to everyone's astonishment, he made no move to strike back. Instead, his figure flickered, leaving behind only a trail of afterimages, as he deliberately evaded the attack. Boom! The multicolored rainbow struck the mountain peak, causing the entire mountain to collapse in an instant. Countless boulders rained down, and within a mere moment, the peak was flattened to the ground. This scene made many people's eyelids twitch. In the sky, two streams of light hovered in midair. As the light dissipated, the two figures emerged, visible to the eyes of all. When these figures revealed themselves, an uproar immediately broke out. That's Chen from the Great Luo Heaven Domain. They have some nerve, actually daring to attack Fong Yi. Do they want to die? Angering Fong Yi, they'll be lucky if they survive. Some people gasped in shock, their eyes fixated on Chen with a mixture of disbelief and confusion. Although Chen had gained fame after taking a Dragon Phoenix pull from Lu Yan, if this was the reason he dared to challenge Fong Yi, it could only mean he was foolish beyond measure. Because while Lu Yan was powerful, he was still on a completely different level compared to a monumentally strong figure like Fong Yi. It seemed as though everyone had overlooked the beautiful girl standing next to Chen. Chen, seeing the gazes directed his way, could only smile helplessly. He slightly turned his head, and then saw Lu Yan, whose face was extremely dark and sullen. Chen narrowed his eyes as he stared at Lu Yan, a cold, murderous intent flashing in his eyes. Just a day ago, he had fought fiercely with Lu Yan, resulting in a mutually destructive conclusion. But now, if they were to face each other again, he was confident he could truly defeat him. Their gazes locked in midair, and for a moment, a murderous aura filled the space. Clearly, neither of them was hiding the killing intent in their hearts. As Chen and Lu Yan faced off, a white figure slowly emerged above the collapsed mountain peak. It was Fong Yi, dressed in white robes, with black hair, giving him an ethereal, otherworldly appearance. His deep gaze shifted toward Cai Xiao, and with a fist salute and a smile, he said, "Miss, I admit I made a mistake earlier. However, the dragon phoenix fruit is truly a rare treasure of this dragon phoenix heaven. If one obtains even a single fruit, they can cultivate either the true dragon physique or the true phoenix physique. As for the 3 dragon phoenix fruits, I only possess an unripe one, while the 2 ripe ones are still in your hands." Upon hearing these words, Mu Chen's expression darkened. Fang Yi's intentions were clear. He was exposing the existence of the dragon phoenix fruits right in front of so many people. Mu Chen understood well how alluring the fruits were. Their temptation was so great that even the dragon phoenix pool couldn't compare. Whoosh! Just as Mu Chen had expected, the moment Fang Yi finished speaking, a thunderous uproar erupted in the heavens and earth. Countless scorching gazes, nearly hot enough to burn, immediately turned toward Mu Chen and the others. They actually obtained 2 ripe dragon phoenix fruits. Those fruits are treasures capable of directly cultivating the true dragon physique or true phoenix physique. Across the land, the eyes of many powerful individuals turned red with greed. Even not just ordinary people, but even powerful figures like Su Biyue and Hong Yu couldn't help but narrow their eyes. Mu Chen looked at the countless fiery gazes focused on him, his brow furrowed. He glanced at Cai Xiao, but her pretty face was devoid of expression. Her eyes were cold as she stared at the smiling Fang Yi, without uttering a single word. Her fair, jade-like foot lightly moved, and in an instant, her delicate body disappeared. As Cai Xiao vanished, Fang Yi's eyes narrowed slightly. He then made a hand seal, reaching out toward the empty space before him, and lightly slapped down. Void palm seal. At his command, the void in front of him twisted, and within that distortion, a vague, formless handprint seemed to form. Though invisible, the terrifying power that radiated from it made the heads of countless powerful beings tingle. Swish! But just as the invisible palm tore through the void and struck, a small figure suddenly appeared in front of it. The girl's jade-like finger bent, and with a flick of her finger, she directly touched the void palm seal. Break! The girl parted her red lips slightly, her jade finger glowing with a soft white light. As the space rippled, there was a muffled sound, and the massive void palm seal was instantly pierced by a single finger. A beam of sparkling white light pierced through the void palm seal and shot straight toward Fang Yi's forehead, eventually exiting through it, all amidst the shocked cries of the onlookers. However, despite the terrifying uproar, no blood flowed from Fang Yi's forehead. Instead, his body gradually became more ethereal, and he eventually disappeared, revealing that it had all been an afterimage. Several hundred feet away, a figure in white reappeared. It was Fang Yi. When Fang Yi reappeared, the entire atmosphere grew silent. The previously bloodshot eyes that had been glaring at Mu Chen and Cai Xiao immediately cooled down, as if they had been doused with cold water, and a sense of calm returned. At that moment, they finally understood. The girl who had been standing next to Mu Chen, initially only stunning with her beauty, actually possessed such terrifying strength. Her power was enough to rival even a powerhouse like Fang Yi. Who exactly is this girl? Mu Chen quietly breathed a sigh of relief upon witnessing this scene. Cai Xiao's counterattack was indeed beautiful. Fang Yi had clearly intended to use the dragon phoenix fruit as bait, trapping them in a perilous situation. But who would have thought that Cai Xiao would be even fiercer, directly unleashing a thunderous strike that displayed her astonishing power, stunning those around her into submission. On the other peaks, renowned figures like Hong Yu, Su Biyue, and Ding Xian were all staring at Cai Xiao with surprise. It was clear they were shaken. After all, no one had expected this seemingly fragile young girl to possess terrifying strength that could rival Fang Yi. When had such a monstrous talent emerged in the younger generation of the northern domain? Cai Xiao stood in midair, her beautiful eyes coldly watching the still, smiling Fang Yi. She said, "No matter what tricks you use, I will not let you go today." If someone else had said these words, they would likely have been laughed off at this moment. However, after witnessing Cai Xiao's earlier display, no one dared to laugh. Instead, they were shaken. They had originally believed that this Dragon Phoenix Heaven would once again see Fang Yi dominating the stage. But who could have anticipated that this sudden appearance of a young girl would be so powerful not inferior to him in the slightest. It seemed that this dragon phoenix heaven would undoubtedly see a true battle for supremacy. Feng Yi, hearing Cai Xiao's words, slightly narrowed his eyes and then smiled lightly, saying, "I wonder who this young lady is. We have no such figure in the younger generation of the northern domain." Cai Xiao's delicate face remained expressionless. She completely ignored Feng Yi's question, turning and appearing beside Mu Chen in an instant. Feng Yi merely smiled when he saw this, saying nothing further. He placed one hand behind his back, his deep gaze flickering slightly, leaving others uncertain about what he was thinking. The atmosphere in the surroundings became eerily quiet, and everyone could feel the undercurrent of tension between these top-tier experts. However, no one rushed into battle, as they all waiting for the appearance of the Dragon Phoenix platform. When they stepped onto the Dragon Phoenix platform, the battle would likely be an earth-shattering and brutal one. Mu Chen, feeling the almost stagnant atmosphere between heaven and earth, narrowed his eyes and quietly circulated his spiritual energy. In this calm atmosphere, he sensed the impending storm. At this moment, the area was filled with powerful figures. There was Feng Yi, who had repeatedly escaped unscathed even when facing Cai Xiao, the Netherworld Prince, cold and silent, watching like a venomous snake. The undefeated Saintess Su Biue, Hong Yu of the Demon Gate, Ding Xian of the Giant Spirit Clan, and of course, Lu Yan, whose murderous intent was palpable and whose cold eyes were fixed on Mu Chen. Each of these people was no pushover, and beyond them, hidden in the shadows, were many other formidable individuals. It seemed that this time on the Dragon Phoenix platform, a fierce battle was inevitable. The oppressive atmosphere lingered, and after about half an hour, Mu Chen's eyes suddenly sharpened. At the same moment, Feng Yi, the Netherworld Prince, and the others turned their gazes toward the sky. The space above them had begun to twist in ways that no one could explain, and within the distorted space, an ancient aura slowly spread out. Roar! An ancient dragon's roar and a phoenix's cry pierced through time and space, causing the eyes of countless people to widen. They saw, emerging from the distorted space, an ancient stone platform that seemed to have no end, slowly materializing. Beneath the stone platform, enormous true dragons and phoenixes entwined with one another, their heads and tails connected, forming a distinctly layered golden platform. Countless pairs of eyes turned bloodshot as they stared.